me a second to make sure we're 5 by 5 here, folks. Sounds like we are. Homestead Homeboy, North Carolina, thank you for that. We all need to get a job. We're going to talk about that this morning as well. Looks like 5 by 5. Good morning, folks. Congrats. Jonathan Hicks, yesterday and today. Really, dude? Really? Give somebody else a chance. Congrats on that. We are live this morning. Who's in the house? Before we get started, Casey is in the house. Howdy, ma'am. Richard, good morning. Northwest Prepper Girl, good morning. Prep This Arkansas is up in the house. Outlaw Farms, thank you very much for the thumbs up. USA Prepping is in the house. Swamp Bottom Living is here. Nana and the mods, thank you very much. Back to the Woods, I saw y'all in here. Good morning. Marcy, good morning. River Rat, how you doing? Jonathan Hicks, of course. Amelia, okay. Let's get into the madness this morning. Sorry about the thumbnail art in advance. Hillary Clinton, the former First Lady, the esteemed former First Lady herself, is starting now what she calls a master class. This is a course. This intel's link down below. It is a course that us peons can attend online to learn from the great one herself. Of course, you have to pay for the class, but again, it's called Hillary Clinton's Master Class, and she's going to teach you the ins and outs and things that she has learned throughout the course of her career. And I quote from the article, "I'll be teaching the skills I developed throughout my career, the challenges, the triumphs, and all the rest." And I'm assuming all the rest is when she got the brakes beat off of her by Donald Trump, but she didn't actually say that. So, again, there's a paywall. You can't take this master class without, paying up front. And I thought that was that's nasty. So that's very nasty of this lady. I don't want to call her a nasty woman, but that's a nasty thing to do to make people pay, right? So I said, hey, I'm going to come up with my own list of things that I believe Hillary Clinton could teach us peons because of her experience. And feel free to add to the list. Feel free to drop it in chat. I'll see it later if I miss it or after the live stream is over. So number one, she could teach us how to wear pantsuits. I mean, let's be real. This woman is like the Mick Jagger of wearing pantsuits, son. She knows how to rock a pantsuit. I don't know why she does it. I don't know if anybody knows why she does it, but she does. Number two, she could teach us how to bunker in after an election to avoid giving a concession speech. Y'all remember that when she hid for like 2 or 3 days and she sent her campaign manager out? Yeah, that happened. She could teach us how to put coal miners out of work and then laugh it off like there's something funny about it. She did do that on the campaign trail once upon a time. She could teach us how to give Russian foreign ministers red reset buttons from Staples, because why not? They're like $10. Why not take that, to one of the leaders in Russia and say, here, this is a good idea. She could teach us how to call half of America deplorable and then again laugh about it. Your basket of deplorables, all of y'all probably, myself included, we are deplorable, son. She could teach us how to land under sniper fire that did not exist. Y'all remember that one, right? I forget which election, but she was saying, we landed under heavy sniper fire and all this stuff, and then the video went on to show the total opposite. She could teach us how to flunk the DC bar exam. And I don't know if I should even mention that because I've never passed a bar exam, but again, neither has she. She could teach us how to lose computer files. I really don't need someone to teach me how to do that. It's user error. I lose them all the time. But I'm not calling the professionals in like Grubhub to come wipe the servers clean. You know what I mean? She could teach us how to lose ambassadors and patriots trying to protect ambassadors. Sadly, can't forget that one. And finally, she could teach us how to lose elections. She seems very good at that. But you know what? At this point, what difference does it make, right? This lady, what a clown show. I wanted to open something up this morning that was funny because we're just bombarded with negative stuff all the time. And I had so much fun making that list. I made a second list. How to hate your country, Cole. Yeah, how to sell out. Zombie Farmer, good morning, brother. So I made a second list. And I call this list things I would rather do than take Hillary Clinton's masterclass online. And again, y'all, ink scars, woo, throwing it down already. And feel free again to add anything that you would rather do than take this lady's masterclass online. Number one, I would rather stop drinking coffee. And I love coffee. Number two, I would rather read Twilight again by Stephanie Meyer. It was painful the first time. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would do it again. Number three, I would rather drive a Chevy. I'm sure that's going to lead to a few comments. Number four, I would rather wear a Whoopi Goldberg t-shirt and watch The View. I would rather move to San Francisco because, again, why not? It's such a beautiful city. I would rather talk to the extended car warranty people on the phone when they're calling 10 times a day. They want to talk to James, Elaine. They want to talk to Elaine. I would pretend to be Elaine and talk to these folks for a change. I would rather self-checkout, and I hate to self-checkout, but I would rather do it all day long than I would take this lady's class. I would rather attend a Miley Cyrus concert than watch this woman teach on the skills she's learned throughout her career. I would rather wear one of Clinton's pink toboggans. Y'all know the kind I'm talking about. I would rather wear it out in public and even with some Crocs. Throw Crocs in there. All that stuff. I would rather eat truck stop nachos, which I have done once, and it did not end well. Just saying. I would rather snort baby formula than I would watch this lady's class. And finally, I would rather trust that the entire live crowd here at Prepper Nation has hit like and subscribe, because we know that ain't happening, son. I would rather listen to 1 hour of Kanye West preaching, somebody says, with a street grinder. Somebody's brushing their teeth. PG-13, I'm sorry, Nan. I kind of had a feeling it was going to go off the rails. Not too many Clinton fans in here, I'm assuming. So the Fox Christmas tree was burned down by an arsonist yesterday. Did y'all see this news? I mean, it's just burning. It's on fire. Bureaucrats arguing on Twitter. Christmas is under attack, literally at this point. No, it's not. You folks are posting pictures with ARs and all this nonsense. Fox has announced that they intend to build the tree back better. They're going to build it back better. It seems like we've heard this slogan somewhere else, almost like they are trolling someone. I just don't know who they're trolling. My guy had a Bic, Adam in Alaska. I don't know the filthy details on it. I don't know what he used to catch the Christmas tree on fire. But Fox News is actually making a big deal of it, and they're going to redo it and build it back better. I just thought that was hilarious. This is not so much hilarious. New York, the state of New York and the state of Maine have now deployed National Guard. I think it's several hundred National Guardsmen and women in each state to help with hospitals and nursing homes, long care facilities. They're saying they're doing this due to the pandemic. They have staffing shortages due to the pandemic. I would disagree. I think this is being done. I think they have staffing shortages because they're being draconian and they're trying to force this thing on people. Take it or you're out of a job, and people are just quitting on them. So now they're, of course, deploying the National Guard. I don't know, folks. It may just be me dropping stuff over here, but I get sick of seeing the National Guard deployed for stuff that should be handled in a much better way. We got them driving the buses. They're talking about deploying them to school cafeterias to help with staffing in some states. And now we have them working at hospitals. And just imagine, picture this. You sign up for the National Guard because you want to help defend freedom, defend your country, only to end up working at a nursing home in New York State. I mean, that's kind of a raw deal in my opinion. And I don't have anything against nursing homes per se. I just think maybe this is why people did not sign up for the military. You know, they could have went and did that without boot camp and all the other stuff. So it is definitely, Never Look Back says it's a misuse of the guard. It really is. And it really shows you where the thief in chief has taken our country. And he's not alone. We have some tyrannical governors as well. They've really ran it to a ditch. Pre-positioning of assets, maybe. Rapala, maybe. But it's only a few hundred in each state. But yeah, that is something to keep an eye on. This one is a little mind-blowing. And it's linked down below, okay? The FDA is now cooperating. Somebody, and it wasn't me, Marlboro Man, thank you very much. It wasn't me, but somebody put in for a Freedom of Information request. They want all the documentation for the companies that are distributing the whiskey shot. You know, rather than watching it on TV, they want to see the documentation for themselves. They want to see all the studies that have supposedly been done, etc. The FDA is applying, they're cooperating with that. And they're saying, yeah, we'll give you all the clinical data that you're asking for. But we need until the year 2096 to comply. It's going to take these folks until the year 2096 to compile all of the studies and get all of their ducks in a row, and get everything organized so they can hand this information over to whoever, applied for this. And so I have to ask, this should be, no, I'm not kidding. I wish I was. Again, Sonia, the intel's down below. I have to ask the question because not enough people are asking this question, okay? If it takes until the year 2096 for you to collect all of the paperwork, how is it that you've looked over this amount of paperwork and deemed that it's safe and that it's effective? If it's going to take you, what is that, like 70 or 75 years or something, I don't know. If it's going to take you that long just to get all the paperwork in order, one of two things is going on here. Either you haven't looked at all of these studies that's out there because it's just, there's too much of it and you're being honest about 2096, or you're sandbagging and you have the information ready and you just don't want to release it until the year 2096, and the question is why. It has to be a typo. It is not a typo. It was mentioned in the article several times. They are now legally trying to get out of releasing this information until 2096, even under the Freedom of Information Act. And the way that the Freedom of Information Act works, I believe, you can request the information. You may have to pay for them to print it off, like, the cost per piece of paper or whatever, print cost. But then they have to give it to you in a timely manner. And they are actually saying, well, we don't have enough hands on deck. We don't have enough time to gather all of the research that we've done. How can this be? Because you've had enough time to gather all of the research that you've done and deem it safe and effective. This makes no sense to me. And I wish more people ask about this. The Horde 300 Air Rifles King Overwatch. Welcome to the coffee club. Man, what a name. Big time lag. I hope not, Cole. So I found that very odd. I really did. And I want to get into the poll yesterday and also today. So yesterday's poll, which shortage is your top concern? 49% of the live crowd ended up saying food was the number one concern. I think number two was medicine. And then fuel and workforce was there as well. Today's poll, and this is probably the biggest landslide poll we've ever had here. Will Hillary ever be commander-in-chief? Let me just say for the record, God, I hope not. 88% of you say no, Hillary will never be the commander-in-chief. She can keep on trying, but she'll get beat again. 12% of you said yes. That's a little scary. That's a little scary indeed. The three preps this morning. Number one, a thermal bottle. Always have a thermal bottle. They work for hot. They work for cold. They're good in sleeping bags and things of this nature. Number two, a utility knife. Most of you probably already have utility knives at home. Just set one off to the side. Make sure you got extra blades for it. It's a prepping item. Number 3, what would you use this for? Borax. Borax, the first thing that comes to mind, you can actually make a candle with water, I think salt, borax, and a wick. I've also heard that it's good for insect repellent and stuff like that, rodent repellent, I should say, but I've never used it for that. Washing, as I say, Sonia. Kills roaches. JRC Homestead, I've heard that. Freshen laundry. Cleaning. I've heard, again, I haven't used it, but I've heard that you can do toothpaste with it as well. It's probably safer than a lot of the toothpaste you can buy over the counter now. Forge welding. Tanning hides. I had my hide tanned a few times as a kid, but my mom never used borax. That's strange. Make slime. Ooh, we have done that, Kayla. We have done that. My wife knows the recipe for that or whatever. But yeah, that works. So the prepping scenario this morning, and this is kind of a role reversal here because you're a prepper, but here's the scenario. You get in the line at your local grocery store. You're just buying a few things. Your next door neighbor is standing in front of you in line. You talk to them a little bit here and there, you wave and all this stuff. How you doing? How's the kids, son? All this stuff. But you don't go into detail on anything. You're a good neighbor. And your neighbor's in front of you in the grocery store, and it is obvious to you at this point that they're a prepper. You see them keying in on shelf-stable foods. There's a lot of them. They've got survival gear up there. They're buying a lot of it. Do you ask them about it? As a prepper yourself, do you go ahead and ask and say, hey, are you a prepper, or do you remain gray man? Because asking could potentially out yourself as a prepper. I'm just curious on that. No, you do not ask them, Michelle. Nope. Everybody's saying no. You don't mention it at least. Hey, I do the same thing when I'm getting my preps together. No, stay quiet. Everybody's saying not in public. No, don't ask. Give him the nod. I wonder what the nod looks like, Chris. Like, I know what's going on here. A secret handshake or something. Not in public. So Phil, that's the third or fourth person that says not in public. So it's like making whoopee. You just do it at home and not in public. Maybe hint and let them decide, never look back. I wonder how you would hint at that. You don't want to sound like a zombie. You don't want to sound like, hey, what are you buying all that stuff for? You don't want to sound clueless, because then you know the response is going to be, I'm getting it for a food bank or something like that. Wait until you're out of the store. That's fair enough, Stephanie. Maybe stop them at their vehicle when you're away from everybody else. No public displays of prepping. Very good advice, Miss Candy. Y'all Beaverines. Both of you are Beaverines and you just didn't know it. Okay. Speed round time. 3 cards. Y'all ready for this? Number 1. What's your favorite barter item? I would either go with silver or liquor as my 2 favorite barter items. Number 1, whiskey. There you go. Yeah, you can only pick one. Alcohol, moonshine, coffee. Very good. Sugar. That's a good one. Skills. Nothing wrong with that, Adam. That's awesome. Plant seeds. Socks. Maine's throwing down socks. Life straws. Yeah. We have a few. Unfortunately, they went woke, and we have some Sawyers as well. So I barter the life straws off first. Even in SHTF, I'm holding a grudge. Vodka. Giving or receiving, this is something you would barter away, Ron C. This is something you would stack in order to barter away. Spice is very good. Number 2, sticking with prepping. What is your favorite prepping item from the $1.25 tree? No longer the Dollar Tree, it's the $1.25 tree as of yesterday, I think. For me, it is still the duct tape. I know it's not nearly as good as the actual brand, but for $1.25, you know, if it goes up much higher than that, I ain't buying it there at that point. Rice. Duct tape, there you go, USA Prepping. Candles. Candles is also very good prep there. Milk in the carton. Batteries. Canned chicken. Plastic sheeting. Tootsie Rolls. No, Justin, it's too soon. It's too soon for that conversation again. Tootsie Rolls are nasty. They're like the poop of the candy industry. Don't nobody like Tootsie Rolls. A lot of people are saying spices. That's awesome. Cheap canned food. Some of it is cheap canned food. It's getting to the point, though, where some of it is just as cheap in grocery stores if you shop around or if you catch a sale or something. Paracord at my dollar store. It's not going to be the good quality stuff, but it is better than nothing. All right, and finally, I do, really, Sheila? Finally, what are your thoughts on this? My daughter and I were having this discussion this morning. Mullets. What are your thoughts on mullets? Mullets are the huge thing right now, and I told her, I said, they're ridiculous looking, in my opinion. And I told her, if we don't stop with this mullet talk, Daddy's going to, I can't grow a mullet, obviously, but I could probably grow, y'all remember the rat tails? I said, you keep on, honey. I'm going to grow a rat tail, and I'm going to put some beads in it, some troll beads or whatever, and then I'm going to escort you everywhere in front of your friends. Billy Ray Cyrus, that did come to my mind when I saw mullets. Don't do it, John. I don't really plan on it, fish sticks, but I'm going to see if over the Christmas break, when I go up to my mother-in-law's, I'm going to see if I can get a picture of Outlaw Prepper when he used to have a mullet. And he did, and it's sad. If I can sneak that out, I'll post it here. If he's not watching the stream right now. If he is, he's probably getting in his car driving up here. Let me see here. Give me back my mullet. Yeah. I'll say this. You got to be... you have to have a special personality in order to rock a mullet, don't you? You know, very few people can pull it off, but when they pull it off, it seems to work. I couldn't pull it off. No mullets, only bullets. Paul Jones. That could be a good t-shirt or bumper sticker. So the United States of America, some people get on to me when I say the United States. They're like, we're not united anymore. Call it America. We have an estimated 11 million empty jobs. And I saw this was a Goldman Sachs report, interview and such, and they're specifically blaming Gen Zers. They said they're lazy. They said the average Gen Zer, in case we have any Gen Zers in here, they don't want to be forced to work when they don't want to. And they have dubbed this now, historically speaking, we're going to look back one day and you'll be able to find it in the history book. It's called now the Great Labor Shortage. They don't want to be forced to work when they don't want to work. Oh, man, I think of all the times I had to go into work when I really didn't want to. I know some of you are the same way. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning, you know, and take my dogs out and take my kids to school, but I had to do it anyway. I had to suck it up. And they're saying in Canada now, Canada has mostly recovered. Their employment numbers are much, much better. They're almost at the pre-pandemic level. But they said Canada is actually struggling with skilled workers. So in other words, they're putting bodies in the positions, but the people have no idea what to do once they get there. You know, these people used to work at a gas station, and now they're out, you know, in the oil fields or something, or they got them as a lumberjack, and they have no idea what to do. Or whatever the top jobs are in Canada. I don't know. They all can't play ice hockey, right? So Yeah, the economy, work is optional. I didn't think so, Ron. But apparently, and again, this is according to Goldman Sachs, they'll blame anybody for anything. They're saying Gen Zers, yeah, to them, work is optional. If they don't feel like working, they just stay at home or they quit their job. It's no big deal for them anymore. You know, it's just a job. I'll quit it, work it for a week and get a new hoodie or something and quit. That seems to be what's going on. Nobody really is thinking long term anymore in this country. I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding, Wayne. I wish. It's colder up here, John. You have to work or starve, Rex. Yeah. The employment numbers up there, syrup farmer. The employment numbers, again, are great up there compared to the United States, but it's all unskilled stuff. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it. They're unskilled. They don't have any idea what to do. Or they don't want to be there. They're just there for a paycheck, which is happening here, some in the United States. Speaking of, many pharmacies are now dealing with staffing issues. I read this report last night. I've noticed this locally at some of the pharmacies. They'll close a couple of hours earlier now, or they're taking a day off here and there and they're just not open. They're saying it's because they don't have enough staffing. Now, they go on in the article to paint this picture like everybody's lining up for the whiskey shot. Everybody has questions about it, and we're just super swamped with that, and we can't take care of business. Personally, I think that they don't have enough medication for some of the stuff, and they're trying to hide it. I don't necessarily think it's staffing, but whatever. They're, again, saying they have staffing issues, as is Kamala Harris. She's also having staffing issues. People are jumping off of that burning boat. Pharmacists know the ingredients, Amelia. I do know here locally, ma'am, that there have been a few medicines that our friends have not been able to get. Like, for example, we have friends, their daughter has seizures. She has to take medicine a couple of times a day. There have been times where they've run into, we don't have anymore. We're hoping that we have it by Tuesday or something. And they've panicked a little bit, the parents, and, you know, for good reason. No, they don't have the meds. That's what I wonder, Stephanie. And it could be a combination of both. You know, the pharmacists, I think, are there still. They may not have enough supporting staff around them, but I think medication is also a serious issue. That ain't all the issues she has. We talking Kamala Harris? Yeah, she got some issues. Apparently, she's really mean behind the curtain, and people just don't want to work for her. I wouldn't work for her. Would you work for Kamala Harris if given the opportunity, folks? Get her on CBD. Aaron, since I've started CBD, here's how it goes down. And it's my fault because I drink coffee all day. But at night, I'll take a dropper full of the CBD. And for 30 minutes, I'm wide awake. And then, bam, I sack out. And I don't know what happens after that. It always flags ink scars. Why? Also, it's an excuse to blame it all on the Rona, Jen. Yeah. I mean, they're just doing so much damage, and they're pinning it all off on the Rona. We know what's going on. I wish the rest of the country could figure this out. Blue Coat Cowboy says no, but he's got other words as well. He said, nah, he wouldn't work for her. You'd give her the gospel. That's great, Jennifer. She probably needs it. But I'm not down her for that. I've been at a point in my life when I need it, so I shouldn't say that. They're saying that the workers, some of y'all can probably relate to this, the people that are working here in the United States, they're now reporting serious burnout on their job. Like they're getting overworked, they're working excessive hours, or they're being tasked with doing more than one job for the same paycheck. Is anybody burnt out on working? I'm just curious, or is this a bunch of smoke they're throwing? I wouldn't know the first thing about growing cannabis, Tasha. Maybe Caveman James, who's on the Outlaw Preppers channel, he would probably know. Everybody's like, yes. Been telling the owner I need a serious break. There's a couple of nopes. Most of them are yes, so apparently that is really a thing. Yes, I'm burnt out, Mama Jules. It used to be that the burnouts walking around were the hippies here in the United States, no offense, but not anymore. The hippies are out doing all the work, apparently. You know who else is burnt out in this country? Our children. I wanted to bring up our kids for a few minutes here, not to be all gloom and doom. I just wanted to take a few minutes on this. They have, for a long time now, had an unhealthy diet of social media. We know this. Internet exposure, screen time, and all this stuff. And then you pile on top of that the constant fear and the uncertainty of the Rona, the C-19, and the new variants and all the stuff. They're bound to see it. I mean, we see it on mainstream media, folks, because we watch TV and stuff. Our kids, for the most part, they don't really watch TV anymore. They're getting their news in other places, mainly social media and video games. And they're getting bombarded there with news on the C-19 as well. My daughter knew about the Omicron before I did, and she had seen it on Snapchat, and she's like, what's this all about? So they're getting bombarded, and I just want to encourage you this morning, folks. If you have kids, take a few minutes every day and talk to them. You don't have to talk to them about world events. Just talk to them. Listen to what they have to say. Find out if they're okay. Make sure they're not dealing with depression or any bad thoughts, okay? Just a few minutes a day. Longer if you want to repair the damage that schools are doing. Okay, and Shotgun Saturday night. It's going to be a special one. Moderators and the folks on Patreon will find out about this shortly. Saturday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is going to be can't miss. We have something special planned this Saturday. And now I'm directly in the chat. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. There's a trial going on still, for those that don't know. There was social media keeping up with the trial, throwing all the dirt out. They started getting into the royal family and ties between the royal family and the lady that's on trial. Y'all know who I'm talking about, hopefully. And all of a sudden, the accounts disappeared on social media. Nana said, oh, crap. What's that hat on the top shelf? It's a steampunk hat. It kind of looked, when I saw it, it reminded me of World War II. And I already had the Army helmet back here. Let me see here. Right there. And so I just wanted something to go along with it. Yeah, no, Jen says no news on the trial at all. They're burying it. They're straight burying it. The last I heard, again, it was starting to tie into the royal family and some figureheads at the UN. And then boom, it's all of a sudden this thing is not even happening anymore. I mean, you have to dig. You have to do a deep, deep dive on somewhere like DuckDuckGo even. They're burying it. So there are, in my opinion, some very, very powerful people involved. And the ring that this guy and this lady were running apparently is a huge global empire. And they do not want people's names being thrown out there. And of course, Bill Clinton, we all know he was involved. I've seen pictures of him on the plane. Those were leaked out before they got shut down too. Big money shuts people up. Yes, it does. That's sickening. It is. It is. And I think they're afraid if the people around the world see who's actually involved. I mean, there were CEOs and stuff getting pitched around, the UN again, the royal family. Then people would start to realize that there was a second government that's kind of a shadow world government running things. And they don't want people to know that. I did not, I did not see Bill Clinton in a blue dress. Thank God. That is not the picture I saw. I don't want to see it, if you want to know the truth. John, where's your tie? Do I need my tie, Nana? I don't think I do. I'm showing 973 over here. What gives? What kind of witchcraft's going on here, son? Cigar in the blue dress was just a start. I'm so glad I missed that. I hope, Sheila, I hope that they are protecting this lady and something mysterious does not happen. I really do. But I don't have much faith in the system. It just dropped back down to 973. Cole said, yeah, well, maybe it was the royal family tuning in, and they just heard their name get thrown out there and they left. But there are pictures of the two people in question, the man who's no longer with us, that mysteriously died in prison, and the lady that's tied to him at the hip, sitting on the front porch of the Queen's house, one of the Queen's houses. And then after that, boom, everything was blanked off. Let me see. Disgusting picture of Clinton. I don't want to see it, y'all. Hillary in a bikini. I do not want to see that, Prepper Days. Please, no. I beg you. I beg thee, sir. Please, no. You couldn't get her out of the pantsuit long enough to put a bikini on. Cabin porch. Thank you, Adam. I'm glad somebody else saw it, and I wasn't just dreaming. Yeah, it was a cabin. So who knows how far this thing goes, you know? I saw something about that, Tim. 40% of Marines are getting booted. I saw that, and I saw that, I don't know if this is active duty or National Guardsmen and women, but I saw now they're kind of, there were a whole bunch of them that still haven't complied. They still want to boot people out of the military, but now they're saying they would get a general discharge, or they would, a general discharge. I think you're still, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but you still qualify for like VA services and stuff like that. They were going to give them a dishonorable, and I think that was going to get beat in court, is the reason that they're flip-flopping on it now. So I was glad to see that. Somebody calling probably about the car insurance. Boom, y'all. What's up, Prepper Trucking? Joseph, do you think a foreign superpower will do something after Blunder rips the military apart? Okay, we're going to get into it in great detail tomorrow, but I'm going to give you my theory real quick. I'm going to pitch it out there, okay? But again, we'll cover it tomorrow. China and Russia, they want the United States gone, but for different reasons. I think China just wants to sack the United States, okay? And they're doing an extremely good job of that, by the way. Russia wants to, I think, collect all of the land that it lost when the USSR disbanded. They want a USSR 2.0. They can't do that with the United States here in the way. They can't do that when we have the top military in the world and we're standing in the way and we're influencing other world powers. So you understand what I'm saying? China sacks us, that works to Russia's favor. I do think Russia is prepping for an invasion. I've said that for a while, but they've not actually done anything wrong up until this point. They're just massing troops on their own property, you know, their own country. And now they're being threatened by world powers. And they're like, hey, we can move troops all over our country if we want to. It's none of your business. And I'm not pro, Russia or anything, but in being fair, they haven't done anything wrong this time around, at least not yet. Now, I do think they're going to Ukraine. Do you think they will use bio? I'm not sure, Barbara. I hope not, but I'm not sure. Jeremy, how can you not see that this is all a big show? I can see where it would be a big show, but I've not seen proof of that. You understand? So for me to get on here and say it's just a big show and this is going on, it's one thing to be into conspiracies, which I am, but I also like to see proof from time to time. 120% of the military is getting discharged. I do think that people are keeping up with how many people are in here. I'm not even keeping up with it, y'all. Are you kidding me? They're trying to get rid of the patriot-minded service members, in my opinion. And they're trying to replace them with a woke generation of soldiers. And again, tomorrow we'll talk about a little bit about the latest ad. It's a few months old now, but the military here in the United States came out with a super woke ad about a girl in California with two moms that feels the calling to go and serve her country. I mean, it's like a cartoon for those that haven't seen it. Force out all the combat veterans as well. Truth seekers, that's what I'm afraid is going on. I think that somebody is influencing that, and that they're trying to purposefully weaken the military so we're not as big of a threat anymore. It was embarrassing. It was. I saw it, and at first I thought it was a parody or something, online, and I said, no, this is the real deal. Equal opportunity. And Rapala, I'm for equal opportunity, and I'm actually for including everybody and diversity and all that stuff, but there's certain things that don't care about it. War does not care about diversity. You know what I mean? When the bullets start flying, all that nonsense goes out. It doesn't matter anymore. And that's something that our military leaders have lost sight of. It was sarcasm, John. Okay. Rapala. He goes over my head sometimes. I'm sorry. Mary says, research the UN documents and New World Map. I will try and do that after this video. Thank you. Opportunity is the new keyword. Well, there are 11 million opportunities out there in America right now, and nobody's jumping on them. If these people are so worried about opportunities, they're everywhere out there. They've upped their pay and everything. Whoever has the most AI rules the world, Tim says. I agree with that. I think AI is going to be huge moving forward, in not such a great way. Engineering preparedness, thank you very much. You do a lot to support this community by bringing awareness to topics. We need to normalize monetary support while this fiat still has validity. Thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. Fiat, as we talked yesterday, is losing its value, and it's losing it rather quickly. To recap yesterday, we did the video on trucking and the sensors and everything. And a lot of folks said you can bypass the sensor. It's easy to do, yada, yada. The problem is the environmental agencies have basically stepped up and they're not allowing you to do it. You would be riding illegal if you bypass that. So not only are the trucks going to run into serious trouble in February, these environmental agencies are not going to allow you to fix the problem. They don't want you to fix it. Selling Prepper Dark Secrets. Good morning. I wish I could go back to work. Brother, how much longer do you have? I know you're still laid up. And thank you, Rapala. And somebody else brought this up to me. They emailed and brought this up to me, and I wasn't aware of this. The sensors are also in some of the tractors and farming equipment. I thought it was just trucking, but no, it's going to affect a lot of the, I guess, the bigger farming equipment as well. And yeah, I wish I would have known that going into the video. Truth Seekers, are you watching the stock market correct itself this week? Did you see Bitcoin? The stock market is all over the place because I believe they're propping it up. This is just my opinion. I'm not the guy you want to come to with questions about money. Bitcoin and things of this nature. Again, I've said this before. I think the concept is really, really good. I don't think the powers that be are going to allow it to hang around much longer without either diving in and heavily regulating it somehow or trying to outlaw the use of it. And people will say they can't outlaw crypto and blockchain and stuff. But in order to use crypto and blockchain and things like this, you have to have digital devices. And they can surveil anything they want to. They can catch you if you're doing it. Matthew Trucking, it is not cheap to reprogram a truck to not run without DEF fluid. I paid $1,500. Yeah, there were some people yesterday saying, well, it's an easy workaround and stuff like this. But it's not an easy workaround if the entire country is going to have to do it. So a few hundred people nationwide working around it, it's still not going to fix the supply line. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty expensive. And a lot of truckers, like the independent truckers, they have a truck to pay for, so if they're not able to go out and work, it's going to be really hard to pay their bills and stuff. They have bills too, like everybody else. Gail, I'm so sorry to hear that. My insulin went up 50%. And that sucks. But I can tell you that I've spoken to people here at the Nation that can't even get it right now. So as bad as that sounds, at least you're getting it. Some people are having a serious problem getting insulin. Selling Prepper Dark Secrets. There is a way to use crypto without digital devices. I did not know that. I'm not sure how that would work, but email me or whatever you want to do, brother, and explain that to me. I mean, I have some Bitcoin, but it's not actually Bitcoin. It's silver with Bitcoin printed on it. I can use that without digital devices in a barter situation. Hillary has the worst bill of all. Oh, I meant to mention that. Ron, thank you. Not only is Hillary having this masterclass online, Bill Clinton is also hosting his own masterclass. And I was thinking, the things this man could teach us how to do. He announces this a couple of days after he gets caught on Jeffrey's airplane and the pictures get leaked out. The stuff this man has been accused of alone would get me away from that masterclass. I don't want any part of it. And in Hillary's masterclass, supposedly, she reads the speech that was written for her, that she was going to, when she won president of the United States, she was going to come out, she was going to read this speech. And in the trailer, it actually shows her reading part of it, and she breaks down, she starts to cry. And so, of course, I clicked the link. I want to see the rest of the speech. And it's, oh, you got to sign up. You got to pay a bunch of money. I'm like, really? No. Yeah, Outlaw, what can he teach us? How to have whoopee with interns. I don't know what Bill Clinton could possibly teach us. How to smoke weed and not inhale. I think that happened, right? Thank you, Nana. Jeremy, I understand. I believe that there's a lot more going on than any of us see, myself included. But at the same time, okay, so I love conspiracy theories, and I'm willing to go down rabbit holes because I want to know what's going on. I want to know the truth. But there's got to be some evidence there, because some of the rabbit holes, I'm telling you, in the conspiracy community, you can dig and go way on down that rabbit hole, and there's nothing ever materializes. So there's got to be some sort of evidence or a lot of coincidences stacked up together before I get interested. Outlaw Farms, I understand. Outlaw Farms says, I keep trying to keep it PG-13. It's hard to do when the thumbnail art is Hillary. Who's worse, in y'all's opinion, Bill or Hillary? Who's worse? I mean, they're both bad. All of the above is the correct answer on that one, but which one is worse? Because I don't know. Hillary seems to be into more of the darker, shadier stuff. Bill seems more like a buffoon, like he just gets caught doing everything. Most are saying Hillary. Wow. Wow. So she is worse. Thank you, Ann. So she's worse than the thief in chief we have right now, because he's destroying the country in slow motion, which is part of the plan, I think. Thank you for bringing that up, Kevin. I don't know if you're the one that left that comment yesterday or not. I don't remember who left it, but somebody else was saying they worked at the Dollar General and they typically get 2,000 plus pieces on the truck, and it was only about 700 pieces that they'd gotten on the truck. And I said, because some trucks aren't even showing up now. We don't have a chief, we have a puppet. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, I don't disagree that she's evil. Somebody said she was evil. Absolutely. I just don't want to pay for her program online. I don't want to pay for her college level course that she's got going on where she talks about how great she is and tells you everything that she supposedly knows. And the fact that Bill had one was just funny to me. Joe is out in 2022, Mr. Ray. I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering if they're going to let this man go run a full term or not before he's polling low. But the problem they have, I think, when they set this whole thing up, and I do believe it was set up, just my opinion, I think they set this thing up so Kamala could slide into place. And from what I understand, Kamala can't do the job she has now. Like, she can't even fake it. And it's starting to show. People are all around her starting to see that she's in way over her head. So they can't really slide her into Joe's position because, again, she can't even fake it. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the plan is there. Their election strategy, if you believe in election fairness and all that, she's at 12%. Ark Nanny, wow. Seems to be bash Trump, bash Trump, bash Trump. That's all they're doing in the leftist media. They're still talking about the insurrection and all this. The insurrection. Kamala reports directly to Hillary OFC. That wouldn't shock me. I mean, it really wouldn't. But you would think, hopefully, Hillary has at least signed Kamala up for the master class so she could at least learn how to be a better fraud in public and not mess so many things up. They're going to sneak one in. Well, independent, I don't know how they sneak it in. I think these people are done sneaking. Like, they're doing this stuff in the wide open now. I think they're just going to come up with some kind of scam to get somebody in there in front of everybody, and say, hey, this is the president now. Look, here's Beto. Let's put him in, or somebody that can talk on a microphone and in the real Oval Office, not the fake Oval Office. That's what they're really looking for. Joe Obama. Oh, yeah. I've heard, again, I haven't seen proof, but I've heard that they're tied in still at the hip with the Obamas and stuff, and that the Obamas are calling a lot of the shots. But then I've heard the Clintons. Y'all know how that goes. There's no way for us to know for sure. And you can follow the information, and I mean, these roads are never ending. These people, it's been going on for so long. Trump's social media update, Brian. Trump's newest social media platform, I don't know what happened to Getter. I don't even know if it's still active. They've, oh man, who was that? Somebody is leaving Congress or Senate. Man, who is that? He's going to retire and he's going to take over Trump's social media. I know somebody in here would know, but they've raised $1 billion with a B dollars for the social media platform, and they are going to directly compete with Twitter. They want to specifically Twitter. Thank you, Nunez. They want to compete with Twitter. I think Trump holds a grudge. He's a very smart man when it comes to business, but he holds a grudge. He's still pissed at Twitter, ghosted him, I think, which I would be too, but he wants to compete. He really wants to bring the pain to Twitter. So I don't know. It's going to be ugly. And then some people, of course, have said don't sign up for it because that puts all the patriots in one place, and they know who you are when you sign up for that platform. So I'm probably going to wait a while when it launches just to see what it's all about. But yeah, the man, he can hold a grudge with the best of them. What Trump should have done, and this is what I would have tried to do. Of course, I wasn't in the White House. I would have went after the media companies very early on and tried to break them up and not wait until 2 weeks before the election and say, oh, the social media is influencing the election. He should have did that his first 2 weeks in office. But it was a mistake on his part. I saw yesterday that 45 social media is partnering with Rumble. Thank you, Just Vicky. I did not know that. Tim, the thing is, if I ran for president, number one, they wouldn't let me win. Number two, I would have to have a Secret Service that looked like the Spartans off of 300, because there'd be no safe place on earth for me. I couldn't come out of the bunker. And that's fair, Mary Beth. Mary Beth said Trump was a divider and he was all swamp. That's fair. He could have been. I don't know one way or the other for sure. I do think our country wasn't as upside down under him as Biden and company. But yeah, he could have been part of the plan. I'm not sitting here beating the drum saying Trump's the savior or nothing like that. I just, the country was in better shape than it is now. I think that they really tried not to let him win president, and there's probably a reason for that. He wasn't part of like the grand plan. Truth Seekers, I did see that intel as well, that Trump was on the plane. So, not my favorite guy in the world. I would prefer somebody more qualified ran from the GOP this time around. Again, fair election, if that's the case. But I don't think that he would be able to win a second time. Bad Boy Channel, that is also correct. Warp Speed, not a fan of that either. I'm not going to take this thing for Biden. I wasn't going to take it for Trump. Rapala says he was brought in to divide us. Well, he did a good job. If that was the grand plan there, he did an excellent job on that. Oh yeah, prepping for it. They're all dirty. Yeah, they absolutely are. I'm a fan of a few of them. Rand Paul, I really like Rand Paul, but I'm sure he's got dirt on his hands too. Nobody's perfect, even in politics. I would love to see Rand Paul run for president and actually win, but I don't think he would. Not enough people in the middle are going to vote for Rand Paul. And that's the problem. Tabitha Lynn, that's really a problem. We'll close it out. But the issue is they only give us a couple of candidates. It's the lesser of the two evils, and it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to choose the lesser of the two evils. We should have a viable choice. And I know there are third-party candidates and stuff, but they have no chance. They don't have the money the GOP and the DNC has. So it's all about money. It's about lobbying and stuff like that. And we really aren't given much of a choice, as the American people. And what are we going to do? Even if it's a free and fair election, you have these two people to choose from. I do think Trump did some good things for the country, but it's hard for me to believe he was one of the two best candidates here in the United States of America for president, And the same thing, over on the left. You're telling me Biden is the best that they could come up with on the left, and Trump was the best they could come up with for the conservatives. It's crazy. DeSantis, everybody's saying DeSantis, I understand, but Florida, they've told me they don't want to lose DeSantis. They want to keep him in Florida because then Florida falls apart. They're turning the attention to demonize DeSantis, Joshua. And that's the thing. I think DeSantis does have a chance to win president. I think he's popular with a lot of independents who are sick of the fear and sick of the mandates. And he's taking a hard stance against all of that pretty much from day one. I think he could win, but what would Florida look like afterwards? You know what I mean? Bad boy, I'm with you. Bad boys to screw government. All the sides of them. We don't need them. I agree with that as I close. The government is here. We need the government to be here. We need the government to function, but to have a few basic duties to carry out, and that's it. And then, if it were up to me, states' rights would matter at that point. Blank Zero, I will close with that. Thank you very much. Do you think the states will break up? Yes. I think that is coming at some point. I think either California is going to lead a movement and they're going to try and cede from the union. And I think a lot of this hinges on 2024. If we have a GOP president, I think California at that point, they will make a move. They will try and leave the union and take some states, liberal states with them. And I think if we see Biden or the equivalent elected in 2024, I think Texas is going to spearhead a movement to try and get out of the union. And unfortunately, I do think that's going to lead to a civil war, as Outlaw Farms said, or, you know, it could be viewed as a civil war by some and a revolution by others. So the perspective matters, I guess. Good riddance. Yeah, they can leave today for all I care, KD. But they do have a huge economy, and I don't see the government just letting them go. Same with Texas. But anyway, folks, I'm going to jet up off here. I have to post to Patreon now, and I got to talk to my moderators about Saturday night. But I appreciate y'all being here this morning. Tomorrow we are talking about nuclear war, unfortunately. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank y'all, and God